and Dana. Welcome to the LA Fit Expo. Thank you. Now we're gonna hear from them about a lot of things, but while they're talking, think of questions, all right? Look at those guys. What's up, everybody?
I feel like a DJ right now. I need like turntables or something. Oh, you got one too. Say something.
Hi.
So, I don't really know what I'm doing up here. I think we're just gonna like open it up to questions and whatnot. So, I usually like to start off, hey, can you guys turn your music down, badass? It's really loud. I can't hear myself.
You stay there. And then I'll go to the person in the crowd and they can ask a question.
Yay, buddy. Anywho. So I like to just like start off with like my background. Because not really everyone knows where I came from, how I got into this, but so I grew up, I was a sixth sport athlete most of my life. And a lot of how I look today, I think, has a lot of influence of how I grew up. So my parents involved me in like every sport. Even if I didn't want to, they pretty much pushed me into it. I started swimming on the swim team at like age 5. I was the youngest one, waking up with all the big kids and going to practice every morning. I played soccer, basketball, I ran track, field hockey, softball. Whatever sport we had at our school, I pretty much played it. They only had one girl on the football team and they never let her play, so I didn't play football because I wanted to play. But once high school was done, I got recruited to play soccer for Westchester University. So the quads have always been there. So everyone who asks, like, how do you get quads? Play like 18 years of soccer. That will give you some quads. But after college soccer, I had a small background into lifting. Like I lifted a little bit in high school. It was like upper body day, lower body day, upper body day, lower body day. But really I didn't get into lifting until I met this handsome young lad in college. He swept me off my feet. He doesn't remember me the first time we met. I met him the first day of school. So like he played football, I played soccer, and what they did, like all the fall sports, we all came in 2 weeks early, and they put us all in one dorm. So like all the soccer girls would go downstairs because that's where all the football guys hung out. And I met him first day. I know what he was wearing. He doesn't remember who I was. But long story short, we got together a couple of years later. Shut up. And he worked as a chef, so he'd go to school if he actually went to school. The only class he went to was nutrition because I was in it and I made him drive me to class. But and then he worked at night. He was a chef. Little did you know, he's an amazing cook. He's actually a really good sewer too. He used to win all sorts of sewing contests in high school. Anything artsy, he pretty much does.
They're called fashion shows.
Fashion shows.
Yeah, I won fashion shows, not sewing contests.
Sewing contests. Well, you sewed. I don't know, who can sew the best? So we started dating. I never saw him because he'd work. And then there was like a 2-hour period where he would just go to the gym and then he would go right into work the rest of the night till like 12 o'clock. So I was like, why won't you hang out with me? I never see you. I was that girl. So he's like, okay, if you want to see me, you got to go to the gym. So I was like, okay. So soccer was over. I was on the 5-year plan in college, but not because I partied. Maybe a little bit. But I started going to the gym with him, and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to follow you. He didn't really know how to train a girl, like all the girls that do like this. like every day he's like, okay, what are we gonna do this day? We're gonna bench. And every week I would just try to get stronger. I remember the first day I put the quarters on the side. I was like, I used to call those the big dogs. I was like, yeah, put on the big dogs. Like a whole 85 pounds. Is that right? 45? No. I can't even do math.
We operate in 45-pound plates.
I know, I don't know anything below that now. But every week I would just try to do like more reps or more pull-ups or just add weight, and that became my little addiction. I grew up just always being competitive. I always training for something. There was a match the next weekend or a game. So I always had a training for an event. So I no longer had that. So then I started doing some like powerlifting competitions. And then there was these two girls at our gym, and they were always carrying like gallons of water, and they're like, oh my God, I'm like prepping for a show right now. Like I'm prepping. So I was like, what is this prepping stuff? Like, what are they prepping for? And they always have gallons of water. So I found out what it was. So they were doing a figure competition. And I had just, it was like 8 months after I started lifting. And I was like, well, I'm going to prep for a show too. So I started carrying gallons of water, eating my chicken and rice and vegetables. And I did my first show and I was too hard. So that wasn't a red sign from the beginning. I continued to do figure for quite some time. I do really well on the amateur level, and then as soon as I would step up to the national level, I'd be like dead last. It was too hard, too big. And if I changed my training style, I knew what I had to do well, but I loved lifting more than I loved just getting on stage. I loved competing because it gave me something to like work towards. I had something to train for, like, oh, I have a show coming up. That's when cardio and my diet's on point, and it just gives you a little extra motivation at the gym. But I wasn't willing to drop the weights down just to do well in a show. So 2010 Nationals was going to be my very last show until they came out with this new division called Physique, which they described it as a bigger physique girl. And I was like, that has to be me. Just a figure girl with more muscle. So I did the very first show, won that shit, became the first pro in history. Competed that first year, did so-so. And then finally this past year, Tampa Pro, I took a year off. I knew what I had to do. My upper body has always been very, very hard. Lower body is just where I hold all my fat, all my water. I had to figure out a way to get my lower body and my upper body matching. So I took a year off. We did a lot of traveling. And then this past August was our gym tour that we did down to Tampa. So I started working with George Farah, which completely changed my diet all the way around. And we can talk a little bit about that in a little bit. Started working with George. He made huge improvements that I can't thank him enough for. Did Tampa, got second. Had to do Dallas the very next weekend. Won that shit, thank God. My whole goal, I was the first pro ever, so I wanted the first Olympia. I had to be on stage, so thankfully I got up there. Was not expecting what I expect or what happened, but it was a complete honor just to be a part of the first ever Miss Olympia for Physique, and I won that shit too. Sorry if I swear, there's kids in here. But that's just basically a background. Like, I don't have like this crazy transformation story. Like, it's amazing when I come to these events and I hear all these people's stories, like, I lost 100 pounds, I lost 85 pounds. And I walk away from here, like, I know you guys come up to me and you say like how I'm an inspiration. I leave here more inspired than I think you guys, because I hear all these crazy stories. And then I go home and my workouts for the next couple weeks are just gonna be awesome. And luckily I have expos lined up pretty much every couple weeks, so I'm like always inspired from you guys. So Thank you for that. And keep sharing your inspirational stories. I love it. But I was gonna like open it up to like if we had some little questions here and there. Does anyone have a question?
Pretty much we're going to ask one question.
Oh, maybe a couple.
Then she's going to ramble for 15 minutes.
I do ramble.
So make it a really good question.
Can I sit?
No, you have to stand. Only I
Legs
can
hurt.
sit. All right. Question.
Can you see me? Hands up if you have a question.
I saw you first.
So I know for a lot of average gym goers, they just kind of go to the gym and go through the motions of lifting and all that. I want to know what your kind of whole mindset is when you go to the gym. Like what makes you, how do you push yourself mentally in the gym as opposed to just your physical barriers?
Good question.
I definitely would lie if I said like I was just always motivated nonstop. There's always points and times where you hit that period where you're just like, ugh, I'm a little unmotivated. We gotta back up. But my main motivation comes from like events like this. I mean, I always want to look the part. When I got my pro card, I wanted to make sort of like a stand, like, okay, now I'm a professional athlete. I need to look professional 100% of the time, not just look, oh, Dana looks good, she must have a show coming up. No, I want to look good year-round at every expo. So I sort of, like, for the first couple years, like, everyone's like, oh, Dana Linn, abs. So every single time you see me, I want to look the same way. I don't want to like sign a picture and be like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, really? That's you? So that's honestly what drives my motivation in the gym the most, is knowing I have to be somewhere, knowing that so many people look up to me, and I don't want to, I'm not someone that likes to disappoint. So I don't want you guys to come and be like, ugh, Dana looks a little off season today. I always want to be on season no matter what. Any other? She had.
So you mentioned that your diet had changed after 2010 when you met George Farrell and started working with him. So how did your diet change from what you were doing prior to that?
So the biggest thing, if anyone knows George, he is known as the carb guy. And not that I didn't ingest carbs, but I was always like, white rice, oh, it's the devil. Like, white rice makes you fat. No. So that was really the biggest change, was like adding more carbs. So I went from like only eating like brown rice and sweet potatoes to white rice all day long. And I love white rice with a little bit of Frank's Red Hot Buffalo. That's why I can stay on season, because like I don't mind eating the foods that I eat. I eat them year round. It's chicken, turkey, fish, white rice, and Frank's Red Hot. That is the keys to success.
So a lot of people look up to you for inspiration and motivation, but who do you look up to?
Oh, God damn it, I hate this question. Well, the thing with it's not, I don't really look up to people. A lot of people look up to me like for like I want to be as big as you, or your shoulders, or I don't really look at people's bodies, because I feel like I have like a very athletic look. It's sort of a different look. So I always base who I look up to on their personality. And someone that has always been someone I looked up to, and then when I finally met her in person, she was exactly the same as who I thought she was, and that's Jamie Eason. She is an incredible person, and she's top of the top, and when you meet her, she is the sweetest, most down-to-earth girl. I have met people in my day say when I was an amateur going to shows and you meet somebody and you're sort of just like, and they sort of don't give you the time of day, and it sort of just lets you down. And I've been let down by people before that I looked up to, and I would never say their names because it would destroy them. But there are people that I have met along my way that kind of gave me the cold shoulder. Like, I wasn't really like, oh, you should be privileged to be talking to me right now. And to feel like that, what?
Whose voice was that?
Darth Vader. She had a very deep voice. No, she didn't have a deep voice, but I completely got like a cold shoulder from her. It was just sort of like, she ignored me, basically. She was too busy for me. And I know, like, sometimes when I walk around here, I feel so freaking bad. Like, trying to get from MHP to, like, over here. If I ever say, like, I'm sorry, like, I have to be somewhere, know that I mean that. Like, if I stop for one picture, I have to stop for, like, 100. And it makes me, the one time, I don't even want to, I'm already thinking. So, a short story. I'm at Olympia. I win, and we were at the night show for the guys. And afterwards, like, the crowd starts like, they're like pushing us out the door. So I have to get out the door, and people are stopping me. They're like pulling at my shirt, like ripping at my shirt. I like start freaking out because I lost him. And so I'm like, okay, I just need to find Rob. So this one girl like tugged on my shirt. She's like, can I have your picture? I'm like, can you just, like, I just was like getting overwhelmed, very like, I get like a little freaked out when there's like mass crowds. So I was having anxiety. I was like, just wait until I find Rob and then we can take a picture. So I finally found, like, someone pointed it out, so I walk over. So I go back to her. I'm like, okay, I'm good now. Like, I found him. She's like, no, I'm okay. And that like completely like devastated me. And this is like, I was like crying, like I'm almost sort of tearing up now.
So we're driving home from Dana winning Olympia, and she's crying in the car.
Stop!
Because of this one, like, and she wasn't even a real fan, she just wanted a fucking picture. I'm sorry. She just wanted a picture. And like, the Olympian night was ruined because this one girl gave her an attitude and mean mugged her from across the room. So I wish that girl nothing but the worst, but
Yeah!
she cares so much about everything.
And that's why, going back to Jamie Eason, like when I met her, she was just the nicest girl ever. And so if you ever get the privilege of meeting her, she's really just a wonderful person. And she really cares about her fans. And that's like the people I look up to, are the people that are very loyal to where they came from. She's a very humble person. So I take all my experiences from meeting people, and I'm actually glad I met some of the people and they ignored me, because I took that and I was like, I don't want to ever make anyone feel like that. Like, I don't ever want someone to think like I ignored them. So that's why like that like wrecked me, because I was like, oh my god, like I felt really bad and it ruined my night. But always, no matter what happens, always know that you came from, like, I wasn't born like an Olympian. We all started from somewhere. And just because I have some IFBB after my name, which actually I don't even put that after my name anywhere, but even if you do anything, whatever you do, and you excel at it and you become famous, just know your roots, know where you came from, because we all started at some point. And just because I get up on stage and I do well and I'm an IFBB pro, blah, 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 doesn't make me any different from any single one of you. And if anything happens in your life where that happens and you do well and you become a pro, whether it's pro fitness or figure or whatever athlete, whatever other sport, just know where you came from and always stay true. Like Rob, he's a pro sewer.
So I want to know, what are your top suggestions for first-time competitors?
There are so many. You guys have heart first show, and my first show, like, I had no idea what I was doing. But my first thing would be like, go see a show. I think I did my first show without even watching a show. I got help. We were at a gym, and the gym was owned by a IFBB pro bodybuilder. So in trade for his work, he was doing graphic design work in trade for him helping me with the diet. But it always helps to have somebody that has a clue what they're doing, just to kind of steer you in the right direction. And especially with diet, that's the hardest part. Like, the training is usually the easiest part. As long as you whoop your ass in the gym, you can get somewhere. But the diet definitely plays a very key role in that. And then definitely go see a show. Know what's going to happen. Like, I remember standing in line, and everyone's like all happy and excited, and I'm sitting there like crying. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, I was so nervous. Actually, I still cry. I'm not gonna lie. Every show, I still cry. The whole week out is just cry festival. But definitely go see a show. Know like what to expect. I had no idea what to expect, so they go out there. Like, I remember standing in line, they're like, okay, you're gonna go do your model turns, turn to the back, and then model turn and off. I was like, what the heck is a model turn? I found that out very quick. So thankfully there were nice girls in my class, because some girls would be like, I'm not telling you, why don't you know? So definitely go see a show, know what to expect. And also, do it for the right reasons. Don't do it just do it because you want to. Don't do it just because, I want to win this show. That's not always, it's awesome to want to win, but do it because you love it. Do it for the journey. Do it because you want to see your body changes and feel after the show, whether you become your first or last, just be happy with the process of getting there. Love the process. Oh shit. That's one of our shirts.
Dana, Rob, I was here a little while ago, and I was asking people if they had questions for you. And there was a question, it was really good, and I want you guys to address it. And she said, how do you guys deal with those haters out there that just kind of push the negative on you? How do you keep positive? So I think that'd be a great thing for you guys to share.
Dana ignores them?
Well, now, yes. I'm not gonna lie, like, when I first got into this whole fitness ordeal, and I was very happy. I would never post a picture that I was like, ew, I look gross. That's posted to Facebook. No, you post pictures because you're proud of them. So when we first got into it, like 3-4 years ago, I'm not gonna lie, I used to see some of these comments and be like, really? Like it'd be like, you're a dude, where's your chest? Like you're ugly, you're a man, where do you hide your penis? Okay, like, come on. But no, it used to really hurt me, and like, especially like for a girl to say something about another girl's chest. Sorry if this is like off topic for you guys, gotta hear about this, but for another girl to say something about another girl's chest, trust me, when we were all in middle school, it was like, who has big boobs, who has small boobs, like, you were then in the itty bitty titty committee. I was like president. No, we really had that. And I think all the girls remember that whole like little committee, and you were like, I was secretary! No, and that is such a hard subject for a girl. For another girl to say that to another girl, we're all made differently. If we were all supposed to look the same and we were all supposed to look like Barbie, how boring would that be? So I like to break that mold. As long as you are confident in yourself, that is the sexiest thing you could ever possess. And it took me a couple years to finally get that. Like, trust me, like growing up, like doing my figure competitions, like, there was opportunities where I felt like maybe I have to get a boob job to do better. Like, it would make my symmetry look better. Like, it would even everything out. And like, I had that ongoing battle, but luckily I have him that kind of
I
made
like
me.
her, man.
Aww.
I'd say it was about 3 years ago I saw it click. Like, even all my friends about 3 or 4 years ago were like, tell Dana to stop lifting, she's getting too big, tell her to do this, tell her to... And everyone has an opinion about your body, and unfortunately for girls it's a lot harder than guys. Like, I look like horrible. I'm gonna use profanity. No profanity. But, like, I look horrible, but I can do it because I'm a guy, and I'm just bigger, and that's fine. But she would get smashed on for everything. We'd go to weddings, and she'd put on like a wedding-ish, not a wedding dress, but a dress, I guess.
A dress.
A wedding.
And I would look weird.
I'd
at the time, I felt like I looked weird.
Well, I'd watch her get ready, and it was like, my job is to protect her. And it was so hard.
Sentimental. We can't keep it together today.
But it was dope. It was dope to see her like switch over to have that confidence. And a lot of that's from like other people just smashing on you. And like I wish that everyone could just get what she got 3 years ago and like have that. And now she has it, and it doesn't matter what anyone says. I mean, we can go anywhere, anyone says anything. Everyone could hate us and it doesn't matter. And I don't know, I wish somehow we could like bottle that and give it to you guys, and give it to everyone, like all those young people in the come up, everybody that gets smashed on. Like, it's hard to watch. And I had to watch it as her husband, and I can't go around and punch everyone in the face on the internet.
So, just remember, like, once you finally get that, whether you're a girl or you're a guy, that comfortability with your body, whether you're big, small, muscular, skinny, however you perceive or however you feel beautiful, whether it might be muscular, maybe you're a little overweight, you're very curvaceous, like whatever you think is beautiful on you, rock that shit. Like, I make pecs look awesome. I built my own cleavage, so thank you very much. And it starts all the way up here, not when I push them together. So I don't know what happened. I can't even explain it, but 3 years ago, finally, I was like, you know what? F everybody. Like, really. Like, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with exactly how I am. And I keep wanting to improve myself. So once you have that confidence, that is the sexiest thing you could ever possess. And no one can take confidence away from you. We have to wrap it up. But just want to thank all of you guys that are here today, listening to us like cry. I think we had two. I cried, you cried.
Almost.
Almost. Sorry, he didn't cry. I was kidding. Totally masculine. But the biggest thing, we want to thank you, the fans, because honestly, we would not be here without you. And just remember to always stay true to yourself. Be humble wherever the road takes you. Always remember who you were when you started. Thank you guys for coming.